Hey, everybody, welcome to the Shed Show. Sorry that we're a few minutes late. We had some technical difficulties, but we got them figured out, and that's the most important part. So, hey, here we are. I hope you guys are all doing well. I'm excited to be here. I have an old friend of mine with me, and we're just going to get into it because we got a bunch of stuff that we want to talk about. And I'm sure we'll fill you in on a little bit of how long we've actually known each other along the way. So, with that said, let me introduce you to my friend Ian Sherman. Let's get him in here. Ian,
Hey,
brother,
Ryan, how you doing?
I'm doing good, man. How are you?
Hugs. It's good to see you, man.
Hey, we got the
Chiming
video
in from
working.
Brooklyn.
Yes, yes. How are things over
If
there?
we're gonna talk about video working, you look like you're 4K, man. I look like I'm beta tape. Like I don't know what's going
Hey,
on over here.
hey,
This is
people send me money. They said buy a better camera because you look like
hey,
crap.
man. Hey, my wife needs to go back to Radio Shack. All right, I don't know what this VHS stuff is going on
Hey,
here.
your
So
let's rephrase this though, just in case your wife is watching. Your iPad didn't work, and
iPad didn't work.
it's her laptop that you're currently on.
My brand new iPhone didn't work. We're on like
No.
her laptop, and I'm like, all
This
right,
is the
wife
third. Yeah,
needs
this is like the backup. But
all
hey,
the devices, all the devices. You look, I didn't come in here with spoons and sticks. I'm just trying to make it work like MacGyver. All right, that's where we're at in life.
oh
We're doing
brother,
it
man,
though. We're doing it.
we've been talking
How's
about this
everything?
for a while. We're finally here.
Since 10th grade science class.
Yeah, man. I had the picture somewhere too, man. I got the picture of you and me sitting at the desk, and I've got that black Lions jacket on.
And guess what I had? I had that
You
hair
had the
that was
hair,
going on.
dude. You had the hair.
The
Like my
afro.
son, my
I had
son
the
has
afro.
your hair, like a little
Yeah,
straighter than yours, but yeah,
yeah.
he's got that. I'm like jealous every time I cut his hair. Little
Hey
fucker.
man,
He's
hey,
gonna be
just don't
bald like
brush it.
us, though.
Just don't brush it. That's all I'm gonna say to you. You're gonna have him look like Frederick Douglass. Don't brush it. All right, I'm telling you. Do not brush it. My
You
mom
say
messed me up.
Frederick Douglass?
Yes, all right. She had me messed up. My stuff was parted and then poofed out on both sides.
Oh
Yo,
Lord,
don't brush it. Let it be
Frederick
natural.
Douglass. All right, let me
That's
pull
where
up
we
our
at in
chat,
life.
make sure I don't miss any chatters here. So, if you're here, go ahead. We're here to answer your questions and interact with you guys along the way. That makes it more fun
Absolutely.
for us. And if you have any questions for Ian, please go ahead and pop them in the box, and we'll put them up on the screen. So, with that said, I wanted to start off and show you this. I kind of mentioned it to you in the green room, but there's two videos that I want to show of Lauren Boebert, and I think that this is um, that a commercial of some sort should be made of these two videos for sex education in public schools. That's what we're going to preach here for the next few minutes. So I'm going to show you the first video. This is Lauren talking about her stance on sex education.
But we have to get aggressive and say, there is going to be money spent in the Department of Education that is going to be funded. What do we want that funding to go towards? What do we not want it to go towards? Because there are schools that are worse than that are teaching worse than just gender ideology. Yeah. I mean, they have comprehensive sex ed. They're teaching kids how to have and enjoy sex, and even same-sex sex, how to pleasure themselves. Wow. I mean, this is not something elementary students should learn, or nor any student in a public school. So these are the things that we need to go after and cut their funding.
30 minutes later.
I'm a mom of 4 boys, and I've said many times, Jason and I, we are raising our 4 boys to be men before liberals teach them to be women. But I leaned over and I asked my husband if it was appropriate to announce this here today. So I'm going to tell you all for the first time in a public setting that not only am I a mom of 4 boys, but come April, I will be a Gigi to a brand new grandson. And Jason and I are so excited to welcome this new life into our family. Now, any of you who have young children who are giving life, there are some questions that pop up. There's some fear that arises. Now, my son, when I approached him and told him, Tyler, I'm going to be a 36-year-old grandmother, he said, well, didn't you make Granny a 36-year-old granny? I said, yes, I did.
He said, well, then it's hereditary. Nice try, buddy.
So
I just, you know that scene from like old school where they just say, like, after I listen to that, I just feel like just a lot stupider. Like, it just, whenever I hear that individual speak, I just really question where we are going, humanity-wise. Just where are things going? I don't.
and and I want to say this before we get any more into it. I put
Yeah.
this post out earlier. I'm not saying this and posting those videos. This is about the hypocrisy of Lauren Boebert and her politics. This is not, when we're pointing this out, when liberals and Dems are using this as a talking point, to attack her, we're attacking her politics. We're not attacking her son. Shit happens. I'm not attacking teen parents. I think we both know plenty of people we went to high school with that were teen parents, and shit happens, and they have great lives. They've done the best they can do. And so it's like, a lot of us we're not like attacking the kid. I'll just speak for myself. I hope the best for both of those kids, but most importantly, I do hope that the mother, the impregnated teenager, gets the support that she needs, and that the child doesn't pay the price, getting born into this, shitty situation.
Well, I hope she has a choice.
Well, I mean, she's due April 7th. So her choice is gone now. Because no matter what any of the Republicans out there say, we're not trying to kill babies at 39 months gestation.
I heard the moment they come out, there's still a chance. I heard.
Marjorie Taylor Greene said sometimes even after birth.
After birth, I heard about it. I heard.
Yeah, it's called school shootings. Too soon? Too close?
You know what was too? Yeah. That's a real one. That is a real one. I think it's a hypocrisy. That's the part that gets me every time is to see that and it shows, because it comes down to one simple fact. If she wanted this to be an abortion, she would have got the abortion for her son and whoever this child bride is. Because
and none of us would have ever known.
Well, it'd have been a fake news story somewhere.
Yeah, true. Fair.
That's the go-to at this point, is where it's always fake news. Even when you talk to your conservative friends, I don't even know if you have any more conservative friends. I try to keep on to them because I need a little bit of stress. Like, I like to get like a little bit of blood pressure kind of going up. But at the same time, it's like to see them like get nervous about a lot of things. And I know we're going to jump around on a lot of things, but even stories like this, it's like, you see that they really believe in this. Like, this is like them talking about, well, this is like the Lord's work. And it's like, okay, but the Lord is not supposed to be governing me, my life, my taxes, whatever's going on. And it's like, we got to pick and choose. I'm not knocking you for what you believe in. By all means, that's you.
Yep.
You do you. Yep. Believe whatever you want to believe. I'm not trying to infringe upon that, though, where, the go-to is, it's when we took God out of school.
Yep. Or God-given rights. They're not God-given. They're given to you by a piece of paper. It's the piece of paper or pieces of paper that not you, but that they like to misinterpret and spin to justify their agenda. And
well, that's why history is a motherfucker, and that's why we got war on history.
Telling you, man, I'm waiting for him to be like, there's parts of the Constitution that we just need to get rid of. I'm waiting for him to ban the parts they don't like.
I think look, we need enough people in Congress to of course, make some amendments, which they don't even understand how that works, because there's even talk about how do we, make some changes.
Yeah.
14th Amendment, I do think it needs a little bit of a facelift. I think she's definitely old and needs
maybe even a little implementation at this point would be good.
There's a certain word in there that just gets me every time in the 14th Amendment. It's like, everybody's free, but and it's like, wait. You can't just blow past that. What is that but?
Yep.
If you're incarcerated. Shit. And then who's being incarcerated at a higher rate?
Yep.
Shit. So,
And just to
it's one of
keep
those
it
things.
tied to Arizona, here in Arizona, they have privatized, almost
Oh,
entirely the
it is
stuff.
business is booming. Business
Yes.
is booming.
And
Like, yes, that's
how many times have we seen judges that, it gets found out that they were,
a kickback.
yeah, they were getting kickbacks for giving people longer sentences, to make sure that all these places were
Man,
90% plus occupied. Because that's what I found out here in Arizona. They actually guaranteed an occupancy. How can you guarantee an occupancy of criminals?
man, they doing it like they are the Bates Hotel, man. We keep a light on. Like they just sitting
Yeah,
there, like,
you know,
lock them up. We
yeah,
keep a light on for them. That's it.
telling
That's
you.
what it is, man. That's really where it's at. It's kind of wild. But yeah, but with Bobit, I mean, just them in general, they have taken trolling to a whole nother level. And
Oh,
I was very interested to see how her race was getting so close. And
500, 600 votes.
I mean, quite amazing, but it just shows that, okay, this round they didn't get it. But as you see with people like Santos, go back for the next round. If George Santos lost in 2020, but he came back in 2022. I mean, whatever his real name is, I don't know, Kiki LaFool, whatever he's going by here in New York. I don't know.
Oh
I
man.
haven't seen him on the streets. I don't know who this man is, but
Oh,
whatever.
I hope to never run
Um,
into him because I don't know. I don't think I can keep my mouth shut if I ever saw him.
I mean, first off, that's New York in general, baby. That's how we talk. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? We put it out front, and you know where everybody stands. And so I think it's really hard for him to show himself back in this neighborhood. And I'm not even in his district. God forbid if I was.
I just
I'd be doing this live in front of his little office.
I just don't understand how somebody like that gets to where he is. Like
Easy.
he's a
You
fucking
follow the
con
Trump
artist.
motto, man.
Yeah, he's a con man.
Wasn't the last president who was also from New York a con
Yep.
man?
Like I
New
said,
York got him.
let a
We have him.
Democrat come on tape and say I sexually assault women and they let me do it because I'm famous. Had if there was a Inside Edition tape of Barack Obama saying that he sexually assaults women and they let him do it.
Well, that tape is actually, I believe that tape was just
Yeah,
granted in
the
one of
federal
his court
judge
cases.
said,
So
yeah, no,
yeah,
we're
we will
gonna
be
let it.
adding that tape.
We're gonna
We
add
will
it.
let that stand, which will
Dude,
be
he's
quite
sweating
interesting.
too. His Truth Social posts, like I don't post
You
them on
see,
my pages, but yeah,
you see that Mickey D's coming out those pores, boy. You see it. He's sweating. He is sweating
he's sweating McMuffins and
with
Big
a
Macs.
20 piece coming out that neck, man. You see it. It's happening. It's happening.
Oh man, I bet my wife's got
No.
McDonald's out there waiting for us too. No,
But yeah, but this has to be a real conversation to have. Like even with sex ed, like the fact that like what she's talking about, and
yes,
like the sheer ignorance of it. They're talking studies about masturbation is going to help men with prostate cancer. Like there's certain things that are out there where it's like you don't know this as a young person. Not saying that we need to be encouraging more masturbation to everybody who's a young teenager because we're pretty sure they're doing their thing.
yeah, yeah.
We don't need to. You know what
I
I'm saying?
never
It's like
needed
double what we're
encouragement.
doing. You know what I mean? Exactly. But it's one of those things where it's like, there's certain scientific data that's coming out where it's like, this is great for you, whatever the case is,
Yeah,
and stress relievers, whatever. But it's like, why do we want so many uptight people? Then you look at the Proud Boys who are like, you're only allowed to masturbate once, and you can't do this, you can't do this. It's like, what are all these fucking rules, man?
yeah.
What is
No,
all this back and
no wonder
forth?
y'all are so damn pent up. Shit.
Bro, you will not replace us. Oh, I am pent up.
Oh,
What
dude,
is going on?
I got a text. I can't read it because I feel like if I read it live, we'll get booted.
You're gonna get canceled.
It
You're about
it
to
was
get canceled.
bad. No, not canceled. Just there's certain things that you can't say, and I'm broadcasting to all my stuff. So yeah, it was pretty bad.
Hello,
But
all
it's
your
like
stuff.
all my stuff. Yeah. Um, but no.
But yeah,
So
man.
let's get into the stuff that you really wanted to talk about, which is what a lot of us have been paying attention to, the recent Tucker Carlson stuff, tying that into January 6th and just where we are right now. So let me ask you, what is your biggest concern for us moving forward in that context?
What it's what's interesting to me is I've always been a huge history buff. Huge. My father was a Black Panther. my mom and I don't. Well, actually, I do tell a lot of people. I let them know what the reality of the situation is. My father was a Black Panther. He met my mom, who was born in Germany but moved here and raised in Detroit, Michigan. I mean, she's a hippie through and through. Um, love that woman. And it's interesting because I'm part of the loving generation. So when you find out about like how you fit in historically in this country and like where you fit in, you understand a lot more. And it's interesting because I grew up understanding passing, and that term is like, we could talk about your kids, for example. I'm pretty sure I'm just as mixed as your kids, looking at the dynamics, which your kids are just like kind of like Obama.
Yep.
And it's like, but at the same time, when you pass, people have a hell of a time guessing what you are. And so I say
Yes.
all that to say that history is so important because you see it repeating, and you see the whitewashing throughout every single century. And we're talking about, from why are we still having conversations about like the Civil War, for example, where we had that massive movement of talking about removing monuments. People didn't even realize that those monuments were actually erected during the civil rights movement to try to tell people to stay in their place.
Yep.
And so when you start really understanding, well, wait a minute, these weren't put up 10 days after the Civil War was over. And it makes me think about, well, where did all this come from? Or you hear that terminology of heritage, heritage, heritage. Why is it when you see the Confederate flag, people say, well, it's my heritage? I realize where that came from. And it's the Daughters of the Confederacy. And it's this organization. This is not some like complete right wing anything. This is a actual organization that came out after the Civil War ended. And they were like, how do we continue the message? And what they did was, what we're kind of seeing today, was they infiltrated education, and they started spinning history and whitewashing so that they were never labeled as traitors. And they controlled the narrative up until even President. This isn't an organization that faded away. It is still ingrained, operating, funded, and contributing to the narrative. And it's so interesting to understand that this exists. And then you see stuff like DeSantis coming out talking about his war on history, which I mean is just ridiculous where they're going with all this. That
Yeah.
Christopher Rufo and what he's trying to do, how he weaponized CRT, yet nobody can even talk about what CRT is. Like, it's like, guys, I barely can even describe what it is, and I know more than you do. Like, what is going on? It's like I don't even need it to be a theory. I just see it as like in action, what's going on. When you look at redlining, when you read those stories.
Yeah, I hope you just let me jump in, because I try to always keep my side to Arizona, tied to Arizona a little bit. We have Tom Horn was elected this last election as our new school superintendent. He's a real, let's see, how do I put this? I'll just say he's trash.
He's a real thorn.
Yeah, his campaign signs literally had, I'll push back against CRT, or we're going to ban CRT. And it's like you said, there's no way and he's like in his 70s, that this 70-something-year-old white man is going to sit there and explain to the rest of us what CRT is, where it's taught, like they don't even understand the concept of, hey, did you ever think that just maybe our system was built on the foundation of racism? Did you ever think that just maybe a lot of the wealth that was accumulated by white families way back when was done on the backs of their black slaves? So who really created that wealth?
I mean, when you look at just even compound, when you just look at wealth, compound, you look at how many moments were robbed through history.
So important.
And then when you look at black wealth, like with the fact that Tom Hanks learned about the Tulsa massacre, that he learned about,
that was a powerful video.
But the fact that Tom Hanks is like, I never knew about this. And it's like, yo, like, I mean, we share these stories amongst each other. The most amazing thing about that is that the one of the lone survivors, as in she's 100 years old, she's like, I'm living to tell my story.
Yeah.
Is like, that video, if anything, should be shown to everyone.
Yep.
That living history is here and explaining the situation, what she saw as a little girl.
I like the
It's
way you
amazing.
put that she's living history, trying to
Yes.
explain to us in the best way possible of what it was like. Because there's no way, I mean, especially me as a white man, there's no way I'll ever know. But to hear somebody who was actually there, lived it, telling
Brother,
you,
you look like you was a white dude in the jazz band though, playing bass. Give yourself a little more credit. Just
no.
saying.
Um,
You got that look, player. You got that look.
hey man, it's more about where we grew up. I always tell people, man, I got my music flavor from where we grew up.
I'll give you everything, man. They really gave us everything.
I'm
Gave us
telling you,
everything.
everything.
Yeah.
Motown.
Oh yeah.
Yep,
Oh
we
yeah.
got all the
We grew
goodies.
up in that. We grew up in the shadows of Motown, so it definitely was always there, ingrained in the soil. That's
Yeah.
the beauty of it.
Yep.
We didn't get the pop hits growing up there. We got the actual. I mean, the Jack White
The roots.
that
The
came up out
roots.
of that. You know what I mean? Like that was
Yep.
raised and nurtured in that
Yep.
soil. So it's there. It's absolutely there.
Because I mean, even back then, like Tupac was huge when we were in high school. Like, and
Mm-hmm.
but everybody was still listening to that old stuff because, I mean, you look back at the '90s. A lot of it was sampling from that time. Like they were taking that music and doing a little spin on it, and that's
Oh
how
yeah,
good the
they'd flip
music
samples
was.
left and
They,
right.
yeah, they still do it. They still sample from music back then. That's how good it was.
Well, I love now that the next generation makes it. This is how I feel old. They're sampling what we already. They're sampling our sample. So you're like, well, wait a minute. Well, I know this song. Why are you sampling Lauryn Hill? Ooh.
Yeah,
But it's like you got to give it.
Because we're that old now. Because we're.
Hey man, hey, go. Hey Siri, classic rock. I bet you Nirvana pops up. Enjoy.
Yes, I know it will. I know it will.
You ain't getting Led Zeppelin. You ain't getting no Led Zeppelin. You about to get some Nirvana. That's what happened.
No,
but yeah, man.
But why we're talking about history,
Yeah.
and especially erasing history, just to kind of pull us back a little bit. What are your feelings on DeSantis and down in Florida, and the precedent that he is setting, and that the state is setting?
So, DeSantis is quite interesting to me because he literally is, I think, more dangerous than Trump, but he's less baggage.
Yep.
You're not going to see him having an issue with a porn star. I think DeSantis's wife is running the show, and I think that she is his rock.
Yeah.
His strengths. He knows how to lean in on law. He knows how to try to push buttons. When I talk about and literally debate, well, why would we use being DeSantis? Why would we use COVID funding for your state, a disease, a virus you don't believe in, to then ship immigrants, asylum seekers, because context matters, asylum seekers from another state that has nothing to do with yours, to Nantucket, which is this tiny ass little island, which was off season, so not peak, meaning that there's no work, no nothing, getting into a colder climate, being up here in the north. So you're pretty much sending people there to die.
Yep.
Plain simple. If you want to be just black and white about the situation. And then you stunt your chest like you did something. He is a pageant queen in my mind. He is chasing headlines, and because Abbott was getting more of the headlines at that time for his bus stunt that he was doing, he said, how do I up it on my own side? Like, how do I show I'm more of this, whatever this machismo is, to then flex and be like, I did that. I can take credit for that. So DeSantis doing that, and then of course trying to control the narrative, because that's what it always comes down to. He really runs his state like an authoritarian, like he's an oligarch. Like it's his way or no way.
Yes.
How he treat Disney, and my man got married at Disney, which is like, bro, you're the villain of the story, just so you know. Like there's no way out of this. I don't know what to tell you.
Fact.
You know what I mean? Like it's like your little never was it happy what is that slogan? Happy at the end of the movie. And they lived happily ever after. Happily ever after.
You're happily ever after.
His little happily ever after is literally on the backs of others at this point.
Mm.
you know, and it's like, it's so interesting to see how he is trying to cut through literally the Constitution. Florida is going to be just a sample of what he will try to do on a grand scale if he becomes president.
Yes.
The Republican Party will back him. They will 100% get behind him. If he can get past Trump,
Yeah,
and I'm going to
that's
say this to you, DeSantis is not good on the mic.
no.
He doesn't do good in debate. If you call him out and if you really go for the jugular, he does not know how to bounce back.
And his face
He went
gets
up
red.
against. Ooh,
Once his face
ooh,
gets
you
red,
see
you
it.
know he's done.
You see it. You see
Yeah.
it. The knockout is right there. He couldn't even handle what was it? Chris Christ? What was Charlie
Well,
Christ? They
no. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
anyway,
Yeah. No, you
his
yeah.
opponent,
Yep.
you know, once Republican turned Democrat, you know, this whole little revolving door needs to stop also. You know, it's one of those things of like, we need progress.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that that's extremism. We need progress.
Yep.
And any pushback on progress, that doesn't make sense to me.
Well, and I love what you said, and I think one of the most important aspects of progress that we need to focus on is it takes us banding together to make that
Yeah.
happen. You know,
Yeah.
you can't get it done alone. I can't get it done alone. But together as a group, you know, and getting more people, that's how we're going to get that done. And we need more, you know, like you said, the revolving door, and don't get me wrong, man. I tell people this, I hold my own party to a higher standard than I hold the Republicans to. I don't hold them to a
Yeah.
lower standard. You know, they're not going to get away with shit with me just because they're a Democrat. And there are Democrats that don't like that. But I think that we can hold our people responsible because at the end of the day, I do think that, you know, of course there are douche, you know, Democrats as well. I think there are more Democrats trying to do the right thing. And therefore, I don't have a problem holding them accountable because a lot of them are trying their best. And if you're doing your best, especially with the pushback you're getting, you know what I'm saying? Like I can make sense of that in my head, but we just need to get to the point where more Democrats realize that we need to build these bridges together and stop, you know, kind of like paper cutting each other to death. That's what I feel like we're doing.
Well, I felt that way when we sacrificed Al Franken.
Yep.
I feel
good
that was a situation where you're taking something where it could have been a conversation, it could have been a teachable moment, and we're not giving each other room for that.
Yeah.
And there's too much of a rush to completely just shed ourselves because there's this nobility that we think we stem from, and it's not. Democrats need to get into the dirt. They need to understand something here. They will not be able to lead if they are no longer in existence. Florida's trying to pass a bill. And this is the part where trolling comes into play, but Florida's trying to pass a bill that talks about no party in our state can govern if they are for or have ever been for slavery. The Southern Democrats, which were Dixiecrats, where the party stems from, again, history was the party that was for slavery. So you see that even in their trolling, like I get the little nuances that the Republicans, you know, with their trolling, that they're trying to get under our skin. Democrats need to A, take a step back, stop going for the clickbait. B, they need to look at the bigger picture and also understand that they need to roll their sleeves up and get in the mud.
Yeah.
There's nothing noble about any of this. They need to understand that they need to start really talking to people who are losing their jobs, who are having trains derail left and right in their backyards in middle America. They need to show up.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're going to have drag queen, Republican, bank heists, whatevers, because they're making up their lives as they go along with it. Name George Soros coming in, doing whatever they want to do, you know? And it's like, it's one of those things where it's like, how are Republicans against drag queens? And then they put one in not even, vetting this person, not even knowing what their brand is. But it's like, he understood the game. He knew he could lie to every which way. You want water? I'll give you water. You want this? I'll give you this. Like, he just literally played the game,
Yep.
which shows you how truly lost we really are.
Yeah, I agree. And, it's funny. I was having this conversation actually over lunch today, and I feel like my new motto is, when they go low, I go lower, because we need to
Y'all
fight.
about to be some limbo in motherfuckers, boy. Y'all about to get it in.
You know what I'm saying? Like, but that's the mentality we need.
Yeah.
Like this whole, even Michelle Obama has come out and said, look, the reason that at that time in 2006, 7, 8, that was a time that they were, really building a movement for change, of hope, and it was all positive. And more importantly, they were the first Black everything in terms of politics. Like, first Black president, first Black first family, first Black first lady. And she's talked very extensively about
first Black dog. You know how much pressure that is? Like, God damn. Don't let didn't Joe Biden's dog bite somebody? Like, God forbid if that was Obama's.
I feel bad for laughing at that.
You know what I mean? Hey.
But no,
I love dogs, by the way.
She has talked about, the stress that they felt knowing that they had to be perfect all the time. They couldn't
Which is not real.
Nobody. None of us. Like, the man wore a tan suit and got dragged for months. Like, imagine if he had actually
It's a great scandal, though. That's a great scandal. That's a great scandal.
And it's a great talking point that I still love using.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day,
and he looked good in it.
I mean, you should have wore it again the next day. But point being is, imagine if he had actually done something scandalous. You know what I mean? They would have ran him out of office so fast. And it wouldn't have even been
Black
dude.
Was already 3 strikes. Okay.
I mean, he had 2 going into it, and it was a 3-1 pitch, or 2-1 pitch.
You had conservative women calling Michelle an ape in heels.
Yes, which is disgusting.
You had. I mean, when we want to talk about, like, in a historical fashion, the amount of blatant racism that came out, the bigotry that was on. We're talking about with just political signs.
Yes.
They made scandals about her showing her shoulders. Yep. And that woman is a beautiful woman.
Especially in that particular photo, it was a black dress that was cut off. She looked freaking stunning.
She was the most educated first lady we've ever had.
Was she more educated than Joe Biden?
No. Jill now is, because Jill's a doctor.
Yeah. But before that,
But I'm saying, we're talking about in history.
I'm just saying, I didn't know if the doctorate trumps her Juris Doctorate, because it's still a JD degree. What Michelle has.
I might have to. No, I think Jill, Dr. Jill Biden has now taken it.
Okay. Well, either way, at that time, at what we're talking about, she was the most highly educated first lady, and you could talk about her looks all you want, but the job she did a great job. She was a good first lady.
They were mad at Michelle because she was trying to get people healthy. They said, I want my chicken wings. Okay. They want to, I heard this quote, and I'm going to say this to you. We aspired to be the Obamas. We are the Trumps as a nation.
Yeah.
And I want that to really be a factor to think about.
Yeah. We thought we were the Obamas. It turns out we're actually the Trumps.
You know what I mean?
No, that's, it's just, we were talking about it, raising our kids in this current climate. It just feels so heavy, man. It feels like this burden of, we're going backwards. Like you said, we need progress. And not only are we not getting progress, but we're getting literally dragged backwards. And it's like, it's really hard to keep your motivation when you're looking around and everybody's trying to tie our hands behind our backs. Oh, you can't do it like that. You can't be too mean. You can't. Look, this is a war. This isn't a freaking joke. And like, whether you want to believe that the Civil War is possible or not, or whether it's started, whether it never ended, whatever your position on that is, look at it from a soldier standpoint. And I like to tell people all the time, people in the military are all different, political affiliations, even though most of us tend to be Republicans, especially while we're in.
Yeah.
But at the shit, I lost where I was
You want to
going
talk
with
about
that.
you want to talk about indoctrination? Well, see, I have to push back on you on that. I have to push back on you on that because I don't think we're at war with one another. I think we're losing our humanity towards our neighbor. COVID showed me that we really don't have love for one another as a nation. We are only as one when we are fighting someone else, i.e., another country. Let us go to war with China. All of our bullshit will be put on the back burner, and we will all be one fighting China or whatever the case is. I know there's been a lot of talk of China.
See, I don't even
with
know
everything with Taiwan, and
I don't know if I would agree with that right now. It feels
there's a
like
commercial I remember. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. What's the commercial?
There was a commercial when we were in high school when 9/11 happened, and I remember this vividly. It's this picture of this one block. It could say it's New England, any American street. It served its purpose. Shows a block, a street. It shows all these front porches, and it's just there. Just hold on to that image for a second. Fades to black. 9/11 comes up, fade in. Every single one of those same porches, same exact shot, all have an American flag.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, I see what you're doing there. And it's one of those elements that exist to this. It's ingrained in my mind. And I go,
it's one of the reasons I joined the military.
Everybody. That commercial worked because it was there to sign people up.
Made you feel patriotic. It was like, like I joined, I signed the paperwork to join. No bullshit. They dropped the first major bombing run in Baghdad, I think it was like in March 3rd of 2003. Yeah. I signed my paperwork March 8th. I was in boot camp by April 6th. So it was just like, boom, boom, boom. And at the time, that was one of my main driving factors was, money for school and stuff like that. But of course, too, you're going because you feel a duty of some sort, which I did at the time. And of course,
as we get spurs, I couldn't do it.
Yeah, you weren't missing much. No, hey, all joking aside, the military has given me everything I have, and I got to work on some of the coolest fighter jets.
Bro, I think it's one of the most amazing experiences you could ever have. I do feel in a way patriotic, where it's like maybe there should be a part where a lot of people can just sign up to do. I mean, like I look at Israel in that fashion where like, well, 2 years, if someone did 2 years in between high school and college, and it just gave everybody this understanding, I think it would put us all together in whatever way. But at the same time, it's like, you can't force people into that. That's not what we're built about.
There's definitely a lot of truth to that, I think. And again, because when you go into the military and they put you through boot camp, that's a big part of what that whole process is about. It's about breaking you down, getting rid of your individuality, and getting more into that group think. You follow orders, you stick together, we all go together, we all leave together, and it's that's the molding, that's the indoctrination that you go through as you go in the military. Yeah. And I do think that if that was, I don't want to use the word mandatory, but if it was a lot easier for people to get in and experience that,
well, think about it. Think about what you're saying right there. How do we get to a place where it's universal healthcare? How do we get to a place where it's free college? How do you get to a place where it's certain things? We don't need to think so small. There's ways that we could actually put into place where it's like it will be implemented because you've done your 2-year service. Yep. And you go get your degree, or you now have healthcare for the rest. Because why is it that senators only have to serve one term and they have healthcare for the rest of their lives?
Yeah, that's.
Do you know what I mean? Like how do we get that plan?
Well, what do they do? A 6-year term, right? 6 years, right?
brother, man.
Yeah, but still,
How do we get that? How do we get you serve a term and then now you have health for the rest of your life? You know what I
no,
mean? Like, what is that? What has to be that little thing that we have to sign? Like, all right, if that's what we got to do.
well, and I really do think that we need to implement something where they have the same healthcare we do. It's just
Yeah.
like it's just
Oh
like
yeah.
you shouldn't be trading public stocks if you are in a position where you have all this information to
And it's
make.
both sides. It's not just one.
Oh,
It's both
absolutely.
sides.
That is
They're both
absolutely.
doing it.
Yeah.
It's both of them.
But if we're saying that you shouldn't be able to trade public stocks, well, you also shouldn't be able to give yourself way better healthcare than you're giving your constituents. If you're getting
Oh
that
man.
healthcare, then you should be giving at least basic healthcare to your freaking constituents. But we can't even get that. And then it's like, oh well, how about we just give every kid, you guys talk about being pro-life, let's give every
Yeah.
child healthcare from the time they're born until they're 18. Do you know, not only would that increase life expectancy because you're going to have better health care for those 18 years, but on top of it, do you know how much money you're going to save parents? Do you know how much money families would save if they didn't have to pay $1,500 a month for shitty health care that they have to pay a $5,000 deductible before it even starts kicking in? Like,
Yeah.
we need to do better. We like you said, we need to stop acting like we can't find the solutions. We just need to stop thinking so small.
It is. I think we're getting to a place where, I mean, okay, so a perfect example of like where we're kind of hitting crossroads. I know this is kind of going completely left with it, but like Chat GBT. Have you used it? Have you tried it?
What?
Chat GPT.
Mm-mm.
It's audio. It's software it's a computer AI that will write anything for you. You could ask it, hey, write me a script or write me a speech in the manner of Martin Luther King, and let's talk about cats. As just being something so simple and so stupid, it'll
Huh.
write you a entire speech that will be, and you would say, oh, just a couple paragraphs or just a couple pages, and it will write it out for you. And then we're talking about within seconds, it will
Yeah.
draft this. Now it's only at maybe like a seventh, eighth grade reading level. Um, I believe the AI just passed a law degree, just like they actually been testing it. And college kids are now using it. And so now teachers have to adapt to be like, is this a computer generated script or paper or whatever?
That's
But it's like,
crazy.
here's the thing, and here's where we're at. Why don't we use that technology to then adapt ourselves? Look at Tony Stark from Marvel movies, Iron Man. He has Jarvis. He has this computer that he is talking to about what he wants done because he's working with this computer, but he's still putting in the work where he's like, okay, well, let's try this, let's do this. And
Yeah.
it becomes his own personal assistant. Why don't we in our education system start looking at, okay, well, how do we make that our own personal assistant for these kids instead of trying to, which we always do, outlaw, ban, and then, of course, penalize because we want to get into the point of whole, just get them in that pipeline of just, getting them in the system.
Yeah.
So it's if how do we work with, things are speeding up, and I can tell you right now, anybody sitting there in the Senate who is above 40, 50 years old has no idea what I'm talking about when it comes to AI and where it's at, because they're not paying attention to that. They're focused on their stock portfolio and how they can make more money off of everything that's happening with fossil fuel and where we're at, because they're not ready for even the infrastructure of EV, electric vehicles, coming in. We're nowhere near ready. California showed that to me, where they had to tell people to slow down. All my conservative friends send me every single headline they could find. And I'm talking about, it's funny because I have like 3 conservative friends mainly that I talk to, as in like bicker with every day. And they each send me the same exact thing every time. And I'm just like, copy and paste my argument to each one, because I'm just like, guys,
It's the
like,
same.
you literally, I'm like, sheep. like, I'm just there with my staff, like, come on.
Let's
Come
go.
on. Bring your
Let's
ass.
go.
Bring your ass. Some grass over here to eat. Let's go. Come on. So,
Yeah.
But anyway, that's my little tangent.
No, it's, I don't know. Like I said, I'm very concerned of where we're at. And I think where I was going, when I kind of got lost, is I need people to look at what's happening right now and try to think more like a soldier. Okay. And here's what I mean by that. When you're in the military, you go where you're told. You don't usually get a choice. Sometimes if you're lucky, but 9 times out of 10, you're going where you're told. So you're going into a potential, like, let's just say, war zone. And just because you were sent there doesn't mean that you agree with it. Just because you're there doing a job doesn't mean that you're happy about it. You know, and I really think that we need to get to that point with the Democrats. Like, I know for some people it's a little out of their character to kind of go low, like we were talking about. Like I said, Michelle Obama's even said that doesn't work in today's climate. You know, there was a reason that they had to do it. But now, today, you know, unfortunately, we have to play the game. And the game that is being played is cutthroat. And we need cutthroat people on our side, on the left, as Democrats, liberals, that are willing and able to go out there and play the same game. And I say that to say this, especially with me at least, be more focused on what I do once I have your attention than what I had to do to get it. Okay? Because there, of course, in my first line or the first 5 seconds of my video, I'm probably going to say something that's going to make you either cringe, laugh, you know, smile. It's going to be something that's going to make you stay. And then I go into the chunk of what I'm trying to deliver, the information. Okay.
Right.
So we need to kind of get a little, I think we need to get a little better at, you know, throw that red meat out there, man. Like, we as liberals and Democrats, we got to throw the red meat to our people too. You know, I
think we need a bigger boat.
That too. Yeah, absolutely.
You throwing all that chum in that water, I think we're gonna need a bigger boat.
We are gonna need a bigger boat. But you touched on it.
Yeah.
But you touched on.
You just got that Jaws reference. See, you just got that.
I did. It hit me. But
you're welcome.
You
I
lost
agree with you, Ryan. No, I agree with you, as in, like, there's a element of trying to get together and, like, how we need to, like, be combative. But I do think that there is an element there where we need to be the adults in the room.
Always,
because clearly you're dealing with, you know what I mean? Like I'm more about building bridges than walls. And there's a part where it's like, I can say fuck you with a smile, but at the same time, when I come down to it, like, I want to get my hands dirty and I want to do it because we're building together. I don't need to be building something where it's like me going to war with you. In the end, we are all Americans. We are all trying to get to the same place. We all want our kids. If you look at what's actually happening, it's more so classism than it is about racism. I mean, yes, they go hand in hand. Yes, because of through history, again, paying attention to all of it. But when you look at the bottom line, it always comes down to green. And it's like, look at what the situation is, classism with sexism. Look at what Gavin Newsom had to do with Walgreens. He's straight up like, you know what? Fuck out my state. You ain't taking care of women. Like, you don't want to be about that.
That was a gangster.
You don't want to be about that? Fuck out my state. And I said, that's the level that we need to be, because we need to look after each other. And the number of women who do want to get abortions are Republican. Don't get it twisted. It's not just Democrats who want to get abortions. Nope. It is both. And the thing is, it is their fucking choice. I don't want to hear anything about it. No one's pro-abortion. We're just pro-choice. You do you. What do you need? Because this is about you. And you know your life better. You know, and it's like, it's one of those situations where.
Can I expand on that a little? Well, go ahead. Sorry.
No.
Well, you know, because every time we get onto, no, man, this is both of us. But every time we get onto abortion, I always like to say, kind of tell my story. So when my wife got pregnant the first time, you know, we weren't married yet, and you know, she didn't owe me anything. You know, she could have just been like, yeah, well, I'm pregnant, and you know, F you, you know, I'm going to go do my thing. But you know, luckily for me, you know, she sat down and she was like, okay, what are we going to do? What, you know, and she let me be a part of that conversation. And of course that was on the table of, do we want to have the baby or don't we? You know, that's the first freaking question. And for us personally, because of both of our religious beliefs and some other things, abortion wasn't an option for us. It was taken off the table almost instantly. That's us. That's us. That's what was
Yeah.
right for us. That doesn't mean that's what's right for anybody else. You know, what
Yeah.
the decision that was right for my wife and I is not the decision that's right for anyone else. And that's where we need to leave it. It really should be that simple. Of like you said, number one, if you're a man, there's only one position you should have. It is support whatever the woman wants to do. Anything outside of that, shut your fucking mouth and sit down. Because you have no room to talk. And by the way, nutting inside of a girl after 3 minutes does not entitle you to control her life for the next 18 plus years. Okay.
And it also means that you're weak and you're terrible in bed, just so you know.
That too. Yeah. That's why they, sex education, if they taught you how to please a woman, maybe you wouldn't have a problem. Because, there's more ways
You'd be
to
called
do
a
it.
1 minute man. Yeah.
Like in Utah, they call it docking. No, that's sex.
Oh God! God! Oh man!
I wish I was kidding.
We're fucked. We're fucked as a nation.
I'm telling you, man.
It's tragic because there's a couple things. I have a really there's been a lot of processing that I had to go through 2 years ago through all this. We were pregnant 2 years ago, and we lost it. And not enough people talk about miscarriages. Not enough. My wife felt alone, and we were trying. We were like, "Oh, we're gonna do this. We're really excited for this."
Yeah.
And we went through this process where she lost it, but the thing was, the fetus was dead inside her, and so she had to go get an abortion to have it removed, a DNC.
Yep.
Well, and she works in the healthcare system here, and so somehow, some way, we got sent to an abortion clinic, and I got protested against, and I thought to myself, like, I'm standing here bringing my wife in, I'm not allowed in because of COVID, and I think just in general, they just don't let men come inside. It's just the woman comes in at this one location, the specific location, which was a shady situation in general. It's a whole nother conversation, but my wife went in. She told me that the scene was just horrific. She saw younger girls there. I mean, we're almost 40, so we're there trying to do something. And I had to drop her off, and I just had to wait. And I just posted up down the street, and somebody walked up to me and told me that I had a choice and I should make the right choice. And I was like, you have no idea that there's something rotting inside my wife right now that has to be removed because it's dead. And the part of me that was just like, wanted to feel like Homer Simpson just strangled, you know what I mean? So upset because they hide behind, a cross and a Bible, and for whatever purpose they feel like their view on the world is the only view. And it's like, it wasn't even a conversation like, are you okay? There was no empathy there. It was just, I'm right, and you need to listen to me because what you're doing is wrong. And it's like, well, then you go ahead and raise that dead fetus. You do it. You take it. Because it was one of those things where it's like they had no idea. But at the same time, you looking back in hindsight, I can verbalize it more, but the anger that was inside me. So it's very, and my wife had no idea that I was being protested, but that we were being protested. And I was just there to be support. And I promise you, ain't nobody walk up to us when she came out, because I had that look. That Detroit shit.
Yeah. No, I know.
Like,
I know exactly the look.
Anybody can get it. Anybody.
Well, first off,
So
I'm sorry for you guys' loss.
Oh man. Believe me. Nope. Everything happens for a reason. And then,
no, I know. Hey,
we got a beautiful baby boy now, and it's
I know, but that doesn't change. That because we had a similar situation, not as bad as your wife. It was much earlier. So, but my wife still feels that loss. Probably much more than I do.
They always will.
Yeah,
they always. We can't compare.
No,
it's non-existent.
And
they lost a part of them.
It hits her at a really weird time sometimes, and it's just like you said. All we can do as the spouse, the men, is just be there.
Just a partner. Just be their partner. What you can do as their partner.
Yep.
whatever they
What do
need,
you need
whatever
from
that
me
is.
to make this,
Absolutely.
as good as it can be?
Right.
And
It's
I
not
think
going to
that,
be. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
it's not gonna be okay, but what
No.
is there anything that I can do to like at least make it as good as it can get, can be right now? And I wish more men
Absolutely.
would adopt that, mentality, especially when women are going through especially situations like your wife where they have to go in and have something removed. That's just that's traumatic. I don't care who you are.
Yeah.
I don't care
Yeah.
what age
Yeah.
you are. That is a traumatic experience. So
Well, look at these women in Texas right now who are suing, which I'm like,
mm,
thank you. Thank you for stepping up, because not enough are stepping up to bat. And this is what it takes. It takes people who have gone through this.
yep,
And we went through it where it was legal. Keep that in
yeah,
mind, in how many states. Now, where are we at?
yep,
And this is a situation where it's like these women had to wait, and now, which it blows my mind to see the news coverage of the asshole who drafted this law, and you see him talk, and you go, just listen to yourself now. Pass the buck where you're telling me that the doctors are misunderstanding your bullshit law
yeah,
right then and there. Maybe your law is
is
bullshit
bullshit.
and they don't understand because they are terrified of all that schooling and education and what they put themselves through to get to the point that they are at. Now is on the chopping block if they do one wrong move.
Yep,
And it's like, yes, they're going to move with caution, because look how twisted you are to make a law like this.
yep.
What did you think was going to happen?
And I think what needs to be driven home even more is what this causes for doctors and nurses and other
Yeah,
practitioners, which is there's a fear of liability. So these people are
yeah,
constantly working under this fear of legal liability. And all that they're doing is increasing that liability that these medical professionals feel. And that in turn makes them alter their care, which is, by the way, of course, that's the goal, right? But
right.
unfortunately, people on the right like to forget about all the people that's going to hurt. That and even people outside of, like you said, it's not just Democrats and liberals getting this stuff done. So you're literally hurting your own constituents that are going to need this done. For what?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it's people who are finding out, where they didn't realize how politics really affected them. Because when you really look at like how
Mm,
many people were really paying attention, they didn't think it would affect them.
yep.
And now it is.
Yep.
And what I've learned about most conservatives, they don't react to shit unless it affects them
And very directly too. It has to like either hit their pocketbook.
directly.
Yeah, it has to affect them
Directly.
directly. Yep.
The thing about Democrats is they're more like crystal children. They definitely, being liberals. Not, I shouldn't say all Democrats, but liberals.
No.
They're very outwardly, and they're thinking about the community. They're thinking about
Yeah.
how this
More
affects them.
community focused, I think, would be a good way to put it.
Yes. And they're
Yeah.
like, how do we make things good for everyone? And it's like, yeah, that's something that's deep inside. It's rooted, like, that I want to
Yep.
take care of. Where when you have more of a conservative mindset, I really am thinking about this more and more as I'm getting older. It's about me. You're affecting me.
Yep.
COVID bothered me. You know
Yep.
what I mean? I want my freedoms. It's like,
My taxes,
but what about
yep.
the people who might die from this, or just get sick? Like, whatever the case is,
Yep.
we
Well,
people are
like in the
still dying of
beginning,
COVID, but it's like,
our son has two heart conditions. And so when COVID hit, we were
yeah,
like way, like we didn't go out unless we absolutely had to. And if we did, like one of us went out, like we were crazy in the beginning.
I can't even
And
imagine the stress you had on you
dude,
at
it
that place.
sucked.
You know
It
what I mean?
really
That place of
sucked.
mine.
Because
Yeah,
everybody was panicking for the most part,
yeah,
so it's like
yeah,
you don't know what to believe. It's constantly evolving. But so when they had the child vaccine come out, I told my wife, of course she agreed instantly. I said, I really think we should probably take him to the cardiologist and ask them if it's a good idea to do this.
yeah,
And so
yeah,
that's what we did before we took him to get the vaccine. We went and saw the cardiologist. We're very, had our concerns and questions that we wanted to ask. And what she said to us was, she goes, it would actually be irresponsible of you not to get the vaccine. And here's why. Because if he does get it and he's not vaccinated, there's a higher chance of it escalating in his body, which would put his heart at more of risk. Whereas if he's, vaccinated, hopefully it won't be much worse than a cold. And when it was explained to me like that, and it was like, if it's good for my son, you know what I mean? Like, and we took him and got him vaccinated the next week. So it was like, and thankfully we've had no issues with anything. Because I'm not saying that there's a small percentage of issues for people out there, but I just always hope that it's nothing too
people
drastic.
People who need it, plain and simple, people who need it. And that's the factor that everybody should have been on the same page. It should not have been politicized. It's like, hey, this thing is coming. How do we as a unit move forward together? And I feel that it was dropped. The ball was dropped. The worst person who could have been in charge was in charge, who was more focused on their numbers. And it's like, look, man, I don't know about this ratings game, but this is not it. You know what I mean? It's not. This is people's lives. And I remember the sheer terror here in New York. I remember the dead silence. I remember this place looking like vanilla sky. This place was wild. And it's like, and is it bouncing back? Yes, of course it's going to bounce back. But it's like, to tell you about the frozen trucks, the trucks that were freezers, deep freezers, where the bodies were piling up, and then watching those trucks multiply. Like, New York was a wild place. It was really wild. And it's like, I'm sure everybody has that story now. I feel like, and going back into history, I feel like we're reliving our grandparents almost, because they had the 1918 flu. And it's one of those things where you see it and you're like, yo, that was their generation. That's what they went through. And it's like, even if they were just children, that's what they went through. And then here we are trying to be the greatest generation, part 2. And it's like, how do we raise some baby boomers? Because there's going to be a boom of COVID babies that are going to happen now. There's going to be another boom of babies that are going to happen within the next couple of years. Because we're finally becoming more stable as millennials, as Gen Z gets into the game. You're going to see this next wave of, But I'll tell you this. Gen Z, they fucked up messing with them. These kids don't play. They don't play.
They are going to save us.
They showing up at the voting booth dressed as unicorns. They don't give a fuck.
Fuck that, dude. I feel like Gen Z went into the telephone booth, changed into Superman, and came back out. Like, they aren't fucking around, and I love it.
Oh man, they do not care. They do not play by these rules. I love everything about this generation coming up behind us.
And I want to say, because this will be our last topic, and it kind of ties into this. That it wasn't just Gen Z that delivered the 2022 elections for us. It was, state of Georgia. It was Black voters. It was the indigenous voters. It wasn't the white middle class women and men. It was all the other communities that get shit on that delivered for us. And we need to remember that, and we need to incorporate that better into the DNC planning moving forward. And with that said, so this is a statement that was put out by the Oversight and Accountability Committee. And it was a statement denouncing white nationalism and white supremacy. Here is the simple, is it two sentences that this is. We, members of the Committee on Oversight and Accountability, together denounce white nationalism and white supremacy in all its forms, including the Great Replacement conspiracy theory. These hateful and dangerous ideologies have no place in the work of the United States Congress or our committee. That's the statement.
Yeah.
26 of the Republican members of the committee, including the chairman, James Comer, none of them signed it. Not one. Every Democrat signed it, of course. Not one Republican.
Someone said something. I mean, that's not shocked.
Yeah.
But what I would say to you is that what I will always convert back to is I'm not saying all Republicans are racist, but all racists are Republican. And I will say that again. Not all Republicans are racist, but all racists are Republican.
Yeah.
It's different in that way. And I'm saying that in the context that, you look at how the KKK flourished under Southern Democrats back in the heyday. But once certain things kicked in, because they always go back to Lincoln, we're the party of Lincoln. Yo, you ain't make many changes since Lincoln. I'm gonna tell you right now, you haven't. We still working with Civil War train technology. Why? You know what I'm saying? Like why? Like, we're way ahead with this. Why? You and I are talking to each other without writing notes like the Civil War. No.
Yep.
We're over here streaming from different time zones, having a real conversation. So when I say to you that a lot of the racist undertones left the Democratic Party, especially as it started becoming more modernized, and because the black vote infiltrated the Democratic Party to change it from within, you look at, why is it only Tim Scott, the only smiling blackface in that ocean of salt? What are we doing here? You got that one peppercorn in that ocean of salt just sitting there smiling at you like he did something. What you doing? What are you doing? Talking about the world is America ain't racist. Weren't you pulled over? Well, I was pulled over. Like, there's actual footage of him talking about being pulled over because driving while black. And then he was like, but the officer explained to me, and I was like, he patted you on the head and he let you on your merry way.
Let you on your merry way.
We know.
Especially when he figured out who you were. Yeah.
Because it also comes down to his class, where he's at.
He's not in our class. Yeah, he's not in our class.
Well, it's, that's a different conversation. But at the same time,
not in our.
At the same time, right? Take it back, boy. The science class. I'll take it back.
I know. Hey.
So, but there's a part there that I find really intriguing when you look at like where the KKK votes today. I understand where they were in the past, but remember, we're not there anymore. I didn't live during that time. Great. Where are we today? And where are they today?
Yeah.
Who are the Proud Boys? Well, they have a Latin guy leading them. They have one Latin dude, one who's leading them. Who's behind him?
Yeah, who's pulling his strings?
You know what I'm saying? And no one says that the leader is not the puppet. It's one of those situations where it's like, yes, he's more articulate than you. Yes, he has your ideology. But, brother man, there's a lot more people that look like white folks.
Yeah.
And Malcolm X had the one quote that has always gotten me. Be afraid of the moderate, the white moderate. Martin Luther King said the same thing. Be afraid of the white moderate, because they'll stand there on the sidelines when you are actually trying to do something. And it comes back to they're not affected.
Yep. I mean, that's true. And it's.
And that goes back to what you said. It was the Gen Z, it was the black, it was the Hispanic vote.
Yep.
Is indigenous.
Hispanic,
like, you know what I mean? It was and it was all these things that came together as a coalition. But at the same time, it makes me question a couple other things. You look at a couple folks. Actually, I one of my friends who I talk to, especially during every election, I go, so what are we looking at? Who are you voting for? Because she went with Obama twice and went with Trump once. And then we were coming into Trump number 2. And I said, all right, what do we got? What do we got? And she straight up said, I'm voting for Trump, and then blew down the ticket. And I go, how? And she goes, literally, without missing a beat, I'm just fucking with you. I go, you mother! Oh! She got me so good. And
that was good.
Again,
like, we can't be friends no more.
Building the bridges. No, because I thrive with those conversations, man. But it was really good because this is that bridge building.
Yeah.
there was a lot of things her and I talked about where she had no idea because she's not from that world. And she was like, I never would have thought of that. And she straight up talked about it. She goes, I went with Governor, she's from Michigan. I went with Whitmer because no one's telling me what I can do with my body.
Yep.
And she goes, currently, the party that I was voting with for the longest is telling me that I'm going to lose rights. Why would I vote for that?
Yeah. And that
And I
right
go, well,
there,
that's common sense.
but that I think is going to, in 2024, we're going to see just how much that hurts them. You know, because the one thing I keep saying my daughter has less rights today than the day she was born. She's 9 years old.
But what about crime and inflation?
I don't give a fuck. It has nothing to do with somebody's personal rights.
That is all they said about the red wave. That little baby splash. That
Oh,
little
dude,
red bubble.
it was
That
more like
little
a red.
thing.
We call it a red lake here in Arizona because Carrie Lake's
Lake.
dumbass.
Lake.
Yeah,
It's
little
like Lake Mead. Isn't that drying up? Isn't that
Oh,
drying up?
fuck,
Yeah.
like yeah,
Is
the
that too
Colorado
close to home?
River. Yeah, we're like 3 years away from having no water. But yeah, let's keep talking about Republican Democrat.
Yo, man. Yo, I'm telling you, I love my wife. I asked her in this conversation, I said, hey, what are we looking at? This is right before voting. I said, what are we looking at? What's your side doing? What are you ladies thinking? Let me get in. Just let me know. What are you guys
Yeah.
doing? And she's like, do you really think women, I don't care what party, are really going to tell their husbands who they really are going to vote for?
Mm.
They're going to tell them whoever the fuck they're going to vote for. They're going to have that non-conflictive dinner, you know, and then they're going to go to the voting booth and they're going to be like, you all lost your goddamn mind.
Yep. There's a reason.
No, I'm not. No, I'm not going to. You know what I'm saying?
There's a reason you close that curtain behind you.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
Especially in those situations.
Yep.
You know, not so much where it's like, yeah, we vote together. You know, I don't know how Kellyanne Conway and my man, I can't believe this, but George and Kelly stayed together that long as really being on a divide. I mean, yes, they both were Republican, but you saw that divide of like,
yeah,
where they're like, no, but this is
he
just
was like a moderate.
insanity.
Yeah, he was one of those Republicans.
That's
that actually,
my point.
Like, yeah, but you know, going back,
You know, it's moderate.
Yeah, and that's what I used to consider myself a moderate. I did. Matter of fact, when I was starting doing this media stuff, I used to call it the Daily Moderate. But as Trump and everything started like progressing, like you just said, it became very evident quickly that it was pick a side time, and that's the quickest way I can say it is, you know, silence.
I thank your kids for that.
Yeah, well, you know, my wife, my kid, but
dude,
going back to when we were kids, man, like I tried to hang out with everybody. Like if I liked you, I liked you. If I didn't like you, it was usually because you were an asshole to me or something. It wasn't.
Again,
it wasn't.
You were the
based
bass player
on
in that jazz band. That was you. That was you, Playboy. That was you.
But you
was
like,
cool, man.
It was a cool way to grow up because, I was exposed to all different types of things, communities, music. I look back now at people that were close to us. Like I think of Demetrius, who's no longer with us, and the things that he confided in me when we were kids, and we were just kids, and he knew who he was. He struggled with it deeply. He was a big, beautiful, gay black man, and he didn't want to tell anybody for the longest time, even though anybody that was close to him, you could kind of, he was one of the ones you knew, you just knew.
We all had that cousin in the family. They were like,
yeah, but we didn't talk about it unless he wanted to talk about it. And there was only a few people that he opened up to about that. And, I think that struggle was one of the reasons that we lost him. And, just really, it still upsets me. And I think of all the other people that we've went to school with, trans person. We've got Robbie. There's all these people that at the time when you're in high school and you're kids, you don't you don't know who you're around. You don't know what that person internally is dealing with. You don't,
Right.
I don't know if Kevin, whoever was dealing with their sexuality when we were in school, maybe they didn't figure that shit out until way later. But think about the things that we used to say back then that are no longer acceptable. That's gay. Oh,
Yeah.
hey, fag. Those were everyday terms in the late 90s, early 2000s. But now
Yeah.
we've got, and even now I look back and I'm like, damn, I would never say something like that to Robbie. I would
Well, I
never
mean,
purposely.
right. It's not malicious. It's not
It was
malicious.
never malicious on my
Right.
side. It was
Right.
a vernacular that we used at the time. Doesn't make it right,
Right.
but that's where we were. And now I look at it from the context of, you're looking at it through a different lens, which is I would never want to disrespect, the people around me or my friends. And whether you meant to or not, I'm like, damn, if somebody would like if somebody, one of our friends back then in high school knew that they were gay, and you've got all these straight football players or whatever all standing around talking dumbass shit, I can imagine.
Straight football player? Straight?
Well, yeah. Yeah. Fair point. Fair point. But if you have all these guys standing around, doing the typical, toxic masculinity bullshit,
Yeah.
and
Trying to fit in.
and you're just trying to fit in, but man, that battle that you must have had when you left, and I'm sure that affected their souls, and man, we just need to do better. Like, I'm really focused on the trans community right now because they're getting particularly discriminated against and hammered on. But more importantly, I want to educate myself better. It's like, I need people to understand. It's just like racism. If you grew up in a racist household, it's up to you to look in the mirror and go, yeah, but that isn't how I want to be. That isn't how I want to think. And there's nothing wrong with saying, you know what? My point of view, the way that I look at things right now is wrong. And I want to educate myself and change that. And that's what we need to do with not just racism, which we still clearly need to do it with that, but with the transgender community. Do I understand every single thing about the community? No, I really don't. But I'm trying. And I'm trying to educate myself so that I can be a good friend, an ally, because again, it goes back to why I would never purposely say something to degrade or disrespect, the people we went to high school with and I didn't even know at the time. And just like now, I would never purposely degrade or say something to a transgender person. If I do, it's out of complete freaking ignorance. It's not, like you said earlier, it's not malicious at all.
No, I mean, but here's exactly, and just to interject, is that we need to have more teachable moments. We need to give each other room to understand and grow. And it's like, that's the thing that you have to understand. Going back to even the Al Franken thing, like, you need to have a teachable moment. There's a part where you're gonna step in it because you don't know, and it's like, and I'm not even, again, I don't know anything, or I don't know all of it, but I treat it as I don't know, and I come at it, and I've had conversations with my wife and with certain friends of hers who are trans, and I just treat people as people. The starting point is that, hey, that's Bob. Okay, what up, Bob? Whatever your life choice is, whatever that is. Who are you as a person? You got a chip on your shoulder? Well, I didn't do shit to you, so don't be a dick to me. Whatever the case is, And it's like, that's the starting point. If we rock with each other, open arms all day, whoever you are. But there's a moment, and I remember this vividly, is that I was asking questions, and my wife jumped on me, and she was like, that's, you can't say that, blah, blah. I go, whoa. I thought we were in the circle of trust. I thought I could ask questions.
We were in the circle
because I don't know. You know what I mean? and she literally took a step back. She
Sorry,
like,
you got me with that one.
But that's the thing. It's like, you got to be in a space where it's like we can communicate about this stuff, and it's like, it's necessary. We got to give each other some room to learn. My cup is not full. I would at one point, and matter of fact, I hope my cup is never full. I want to learn something every day. And that's the biggest thing, is everybody thinks they know something. It's like, you don't know shit.
Nope.
Keep learning. Keep just adding to it, because there's a part where we will have more empathy for one another. And that's the part that we're slacking on. Maybe Republicans think that trans people just got here. I don't know. But the way that they're passing laws, and then over here like falling for thirst traps on IG, it's like you're telling on yourself.
I'm loving it.
Like, yo,
I'm
that
loving it.
McNally, that Lieutenant Governor McNally, I'm having the conversation with some folks right now where I'm like, yo, my man over here fell for the thirst trap. Like, you can't be sending no heart emojis and fire emojis and telling people that you brighten up their day. And my conservative friend is like, well, maybe two things can be true. He wants to pass laws to save people, but he also wants to congratulate. I go, okay. And again, I don't fall for people's bullshit. I'm like, so do you go on social media and send hearts and fire and let people know that you like their thirst traps? And he's like, I'm like, that's what I thought. That's what I thought. That's what I thought. Yeah. So yes, in the closet, we all know what happens. We understand that they have a base or they have their own thing or whatever. Yep. Well, that's his flavor. Whatever the case is, dads and lads or grandpas and lads, whatever the fuck that is. Do you, Playboy? You know what I'm saying? But the hypocrisy is the part that we gotta call out.
And not even the hypocrisy. There's a danger here that I think we need to address that you touched on, which is one of the biggest issues. I personally think that most, I don't know. I'm sure there are cis women that straight women that have this issue, but I think a lot of cis men, that again, going back to this toxic masculinity bullshit, they have a problem when they see somebody and they find out that they're trans and they were attracted to them before they found out.
Bro,
that there are so many
beautiful
dudes.
Beautiful is beautiful.
There's
is
a couple
what it is, man.
I'll mention her. I don't give a fuck. Plastic Martyr is somebody that I follow and interact with quite a bit on Instagram and social media in general. She's a trans woman. I personally think she's fucking gorgeous, and her personality is great. I love her videos, and more importantly, she's consistently putting out educational videos to help people like me who need that education, that need that guidance of this is what it's really like. Don't listen to this bullshit. Listen to me. I'm an actual trans person. This is what we're dealing with. This is what it's really like. She literally did a video of her in a bathroom. She goes, "Would you like to see what a trans woman does in the bathroom?" She's like, there's no urinals. We go into the stall, close the door behind us, and there's nobody in here. It's just us.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's like, and then she's like, and then I go wash my hands because you guys are all some dirty motherfuckers. And then I go out. I leave. Yeah. That's it. And it's like, what do you guys think is happening in these fucking bathrooms? Like, you guys act like as many trails derail every day that there's that many, trans people sexually assaulting people in bathrooms. Like,
it's the unknown that is always the fear-based, the fear-mongering, and it's the part where they don't even allow themselves. I asked my man, the friend of mine who was talking about all this, the drag queens, the trans, all this stuff, and I'm like, yo, when you come to New York next, I got a spot. I'll take you to it. Like seriously, I will take you to a club. Some of the most amazing performing drag queens, because for some reason you think that they're all just literally trying to indoctrinate children or whatever the fuck you think. I go and you'll see some of the most talented people doing their thing on all fronts, whatever it is, as performers. And I tell people, one of the best lap dances I ever got in my life from a drag queen. I go, I'm not even mad at it. I said, yo,
I'm sure there's some truth to that.
I was like, yo. Bro, I said, all right, I give it to you. Here's the singles. Like, there it is. Like, it was an amazing night. 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 But, and I always tell people, because it was a beautiful night. I was out with Rob. It was a beautiful night. And of course, when Rob's little brother is out, you know what I mean? People
everybody flocks. Yep.
Everybody is extra. And that's what I loved about it. I said, man, everybody's just having a good time, man. Some of my favorite nights out, going to gay bars, because it's just you're just there to have a laugh.
Different, man. And
I'm not over here trying to puff on my chest. It's nothing.
But what I always liked about the gay scene when I was invited was how fucking welcoming they were. Like, and if they knew you were straight, they didn't, like, at least the people I was around, it was like they were protective. Like, don't hit on him, don't fuck with him, whatever, like whatever my comfort level was, they
Right.
fed off of that. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Right.
And like you
So
said, like once
you were booty popping in a handstand, huh?
well, dude, I mean, it's like anything. It's like
Get
but
it?
no, in all seriousness, though, it's like anything that you
Yeah.
don't know at first. Like you're uncomfortable at first, but
Yeah.
once you get in there and you realize, like you just said, it's just an atmosphere where everybody wants to have a good time. Nobody
Bro,
showed up to be, whatever. Yeah, there's people being extra, whatever. But it's for the most part, it's all fun. It's all
you talking about extra there. It is a show. All right. It
yeah,
is a
man.
show. And the drinks are strong. The crowd is
That
amazing.
helps.
Everybody comes correct. Everybody comes correct. Like you
And
don't
that's
step up
dude, that's the
looking
most important
sloppy.
part.
People come correct. It's a
Yeah.
great time. It's just one big party. You know what I
And
mean? It's
and and
like
I just
and
have to
and part of me starts thinking about it. Go ahead.
no, well, I was just going to say sorry. That a lot of people, and I don't think this is what you were doing, but I just wanted to put it out there. A lot of people connect drag shows to the trans community, and
Yeah.
they're actually very different. Are
Yeah.
there trans people that are drag queens? Yes, but
Yeah.
drag queens covers a vast community of people. I
Yeah.
would wager to say that there are some straight men that do drag, that sexually are attracted to women, but they just dig drag. They love the atmosphere, the show of it, and whatever. But I don't
Ryan, think
understand this
about
whole
this.
thing with drag, dude. Like you all need to go sit down, watch some fucking RuPaul Drag Race for a little bit, have a few drinks, have an edible or something, calm the fuck down, sit down and
Well,
watch why it's so fun. These people are fucking amazing.
here's what's funny about it is like they talk about it like this shit just started.
Mm,
Keep in mind, William Shakespeare putting on plays in 15 fucking 12 had men dress as women because it was only legal to have men on stage. Women, it was illegal to have performing. So men would always have to perform as the woman part. So Romeo and Juliet are sitting there as two men, one in a wig, practically doing drag. If you think about it, if you put it in context, it is just a person that is putting on this show.
mhm.
When you boil it down to just that alone, you don't see people getting up, doing drag, and going to go like cash a check.
No.
You know what I mean? It is a performance piece. It is there to make a statement. Uh, um, the some conservatives are trying to attack it as in like yes, it's trying to indoctrinate children. It's not the same type of performance. Me getting a lap dance at a nightclub at 2 in the fucking morning versus me going to a library with my son for him to have uh, uh, kinky boots perform, it's not the same.
No.
And for you to think that and I get that there's extreme versions, there's extreme scenarios where something went a little off. I get it. I'm sure there's an outlier there. But that's just like saying the father who takes their kid to the strip club.
Or Hooters.
Normally, well, I'm saying strip club.
Yeah.
Normally, it's illegal, but for some reason, this person knew the bouncer. They let him in. They walked in. There's still a performance. You know what I'm saying? There's that
Yeah.
outlier that it happens. So it's like, okay, so certain things happen. We get that, but we gotta get right to like where things are. Yes, RuPaul drag show. Amazing to see what they're doing.
Yep.
Amazing to see how they're trying to bring the culture to mainstream for people to really digest, and they are the best candidate for that. It's just
And
like Obama. It was the best person at the right time to really serve this dish and be like, "Hey, there's nothing to be afraid of here," you know?
yeah,
But there's this fear because people are not there, so all I can do is just invite them. I'll take you out. You're with me. I'm not setting you up. You know what I
yeah.
mean? I'm bringing you out to just have a good time, and it is what it is, you know?
Yep.
It's not but I mean, I'm not the ambassador for this.
No.
I'm not.
But I can help you experience it and give you some some experience behind the to give you context.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and I think this is what you were saying, and I just want to say it in a little different way because I heard a drag performer that I follow on Instagram say this. It said, "Look, if you're going to bring your kids to a drag show, make sure that it's a drag show that's meant for kids." and a lot of the flyers I've started to notice specifically say 18 plus, or kids
Yeah,
welcome, family show.
absolutely.
You have to pay attention to the advertisements because they're not trying to trick anybody. They're telling you exactly who their audience for the show is going to be. It either
Yes,
says this is not kid friendly,
absolutely.
18 plus, or it's going to say family friendly, bring your kids, we're going to have a reading hour, or whatever the case is, whatever they're
Absolutely.
doing. But they aren't trying to trick
Absolutely.
anybody. They're just being part of the fucking community. And all they're not all they're getting, but they're getting a lot of this ignorant pushback from the right, and it's just for nothing. All this time and effort being spent for nothing. And we've
Yeah.
got people suffering. The list can go on. But what are we spending our time on?
Yeah.
Legislating drag shows. What
And
about?
and here's the thing. Here's the thing that I just to touch on that is
Yeah,
like no one's saying that it's mandatory that you have to bring your kid to a drag show or as in a
still a
drag story
choice.
hour. It is literally, I want to do this. I want to bring my child to this. Me as a parent, I have the right to do what I feel is necessary.
Yes.
If I in my house want my child to taste wine, it is my prerogative. It is not that it's illegal. It's illegal
Maybe
for
not
him
the
to go
best
out and go
example,
consume
but
it somewhere else.
yeah. But
Not
no,
the case
no,
at all. Not the
yeah,
case at all. As an American, you think that way. As a European, as my mom German, they
yeah.
were raised to, you could have a glass at the dinner table. You're not getting wasted. You can have a glass at the dinner table because then you'll have a sense, and we're talking about high school. I'm not talking about baby
No,
bottle. In
you're
high
yeah,
school,
yep.
have a glass of wine because you're not going to lose your fucking shit the moment you get to college and have alcohol poisoning. It's not going to be something that's, oh my God, I've been waiting to do this all my life. And then here we go.
Teaches
It's
you a
like, no, I've had,
responsibility in a way. Yeah.
it gives you the responsibility. And so there's
Yep.
certain things there where it's like, yeah, not every drag show is for everybody. And like you said,
No.
with the age restriction, but at the same time, it's like if I want to bring my kid to the zoo, if I want to bring them to the movie theater, if I want to bring them to story hour, they're getting story hour. They're reading a book. It's a community experience. You're sharing
Yep.
with a whole bunch of other parents and kids.
And they're promoting reading. How is
You
that a
know what I
bad
mean?
thing?
I'm at a library. Okay. All right. Like, where are we going wrong
It's like the
here?
only
But again,
danger.
it's the parent's choice. That's
Yeah.
the reality.
And the only
That's the only
danger
thing that I
that
really
that
want to touch
is
on.
the only danger that's really showing up at these drag shows is from the conservative, groups, whoever it is, whether it's the religious groups or just the GOP, but they're showing up to these
Yeah.
things. It's like you guys are the ones making it, combative. Like if you guys
It's a
just
weird control thing. It's a really weird
right,
control thing.
like
Yeah.
you said, all you guys have to do is stay home. Like it's pretty simple. Nobody's banging
And
on your door, like Jehovah's Witnesses saying that you need to come to drag shows, and like no, just don't go. Don't take your
yeah,
kid. Like it's pretty simple.
you don't do it. It's like, I mean, I hear a lot of conservatives say live and let live. And I go, but then why are you passing out these laws?
When are
Because
you going to start applying
you're
that
not.
to life?
You know what I mean? Like, just start reading your own shit. Like, what is going on here? But it's one of those things. It's like it's not for everybody. I get it's not for
No.
everybody, and it's not being forced on you.
Yeah.
Well, I have to see it. Bitch, turn. You don't have to see it. Go that way. Just okay. I don't
Yeah.
want to see that. I'm good. You know what I'm saying? It's not.
It's like we've got a guy here in Arizona. I'm not going to say his name because he's some right-wing nut job, but he's been going around. So the latest video, he went into a Target during Black History Month and started talking about how the Black History displays of books and whatever were racist, and was grabbing all of the employees that weren't white and complaining to them. Man, this black dude, he was walking, he kept turning around. He's like, He's like, you done? He's like, you can get the fuck out of my store.
You know that.
Oh, I know that. I know that.
I didn't have that red vest on.
You.
Fuck you up, boy. You already know.
Man.
I ain't got
Man, I was waiting for him to take the little walkie-talkie things they got. I was waiting for him to pop it out.
You already know.
You done, son. All right, but listen, we need to end it up there. I don't know if this is going to become a regular thing or not, but either way, I'm glad you came on tonight. I hope that we can. We were talking about bringing your sister on. I think that would be fucking phenomenal. It's
Oh, you don't
fun.
want you don't want both of them at the same time,
Shit,
boy.
man.
That's
Shit, I'll
a
get
shit box
you,
right there.
Robbie. We can get everybody
Oh,
on here. Be a
man, you gonna have us looking like the Van Trapp family. You better watch out. All right. That's it. You're gonna be blowing a whistle and all of us just lining up. Like you better be careful. You better be careful. But
oh
yeah, man. No,
shit, brother.
it really is great to talk to you, man. I really
You
appreciate
too,
it.
man. So is there anything before we jump off that you want to plug, talk about, comment, anything?
No, man, I appreciate what you've been doing. It's been great to be on the outskirts, just watching you progress through a lot of this, and it's been really great to be a part of some of it. Make some music for you back in the
Yeah.
day, and to see you just really growing. It's just a gift. It's really a gift to spend time with you, man. So keep doing your thing, and
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 no, I appreciate that, brother. And you know, I
yeah,
mean, the intro music you did. So,
I did,
you
I
know,
got actually excited when I heard. I go, oh
yeah,
shit, I
yeah.
know that beat.
So, you know, thank you for being, you know, a very long time friend and supporting me as I, you know, venture through this. Like you said, there's been a lot of missteps, but you know that those are the
Oh
best
man.
lessons. So,
Teachable
um,
moments, man. Teachable moments.
teachable moments, brother. So, with that said,
It's not
look,
about the destination. It's about the journey. That's the
yes,
reality.
yeah, man, ain't that the truth? So, look, with that said, I just want everybody out there, please continue to be safe. I know we got a lot of weird stuff going on out there right now. Just keep fighting. And if you follow me on my social media, do me a favor. We're all pushing the Good Trouble 2024 hashtag. And what that's
Yeah.
about is we're trying to get the Democratic National Convention of 2024 to be hosted in Atlanta. And they're well, Joe Biden and the Democrats should be announcing that within the next week or two. So if you can, just keep pushing the Good Trouble 2024 hashtag if you follow my stuff. I'd really appreciate that. And other than that, I'll leave you as I always do with much love. Keep fighting, and we'll see you next time.